Welcome everyone on this evening today. We have taken this hot topic 148 and section 148A in light of recent Supreme Court judgments, how the reassessments or assessments will be done. We have our well-known speaker today, Shubham Rathi, is from Aurangabad. We welcome Shubham Rathi sir. We also welcome Chairman Sir Yogesh Agrawal, Chairman Akola Branch Hiren Jogi Sir, and one and all present here. Yogesh Sir, I'd request you to give your opening remarks.
Thank you, Kedar. This is the first event after pandemic where we are having more than 260 participants. Out of that, near about 80 participants have joined. Today's speaker, CA Shubham Rathi, branch chairman of this thing, Akola branch, and my best friend, CA Hiren Jogi, branch chairman of Pimpri Chinchwad branch, CA Vijay Bamne, and branch chairman of Nanded branch, CA Mahesh Totla, in their absentia, and all branch committee members, seniors in the profession of all the branches, and my CA friends and colleagues. Good evening to all of you. I am so happy that today we got such type of response from the members. Those have joined to hear the young and dynamic chartered accountant from Aurangabad, who is doing practice in litigations, and he is study circle vice chairman of the committees of study circle committee of Aurangabad ICI. He is very keenly doing conducting study circle programs, and he is keenly involved in all the activities around the clock happening at branch level, along with the study circle chairman Sachin Totla. Under the able leadership of as a branch secretary of Aurangabad branch, CA Kedar Pandey, we are celebrating this month as a technology month. Out of that, 2 weeks are already positively got a huge response. That on 21st and 22nd we are having data analytics and robotic topic as a part of technology month, and thereafter on 28th and 29th May we are having blockchain and cryptocurrency topic. Besides that, on 20th of May, this May, we are having the event on Ind AS overview and how to develop practice in Ind AS. This is the very good topic wherein CA Karthik Singhal from Hisar, Haryana is addressing us and giving the benefits of and the opportunities we people can explore in India's practice. Besides that, we are also conducting IBC refresher course on 26th to 29th of May, which will be for 4 days. And again, on 3rd and 4th of June, we are visiting to Ahmedabad ISRO under the able leadership of Vikasa chairman CA Mahesh Indani with students. And on 7th or 8th of June, we are having IBC introductory session at MP Law College. And 9th to 11th of June, we are having ISA refresher course, which will be monitored by our branch treasurer CA branch treasurer का नाम भूल गया मैं, Amol Godha ji. And on 17th of June, we are having mega tree plantation at branch, where we are planting more than 300 plants with Sakla nursery, followed by various events till CA day, from CA foundation day to CA day. We are also having on 1st of July blood donation camp, and we are also having the first AGM of Aurangabad branch, wherein all the financials of the branch will be presented before on the PowerPoint presentation before all the members of Aurangabad branch. And I once again reciprocate my thank you to all the participants for such a huge response, for listening to our young and dynamic chartered accountant from Aurangabad, Shubham Rathi. And again I request all the members, we are taking one lead where we are giving more opportunities for young chartered accountants to groom them as a speaker from Aurangabad, for to make them good speakers at pan India level. So with this expectation, आप सभी को मेरा प्रणाम. Thank you for joining. Over to you, Kedar.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for enlightening us on various branch programs. Talking about Shubham Rathi, I have been given the task to introduce Shubham. Many of us already know him for his direct tax knowledge and direct tax sharings. Every month we receive his articles, and he has completed his chartered accountancy in 2017, LLB in 2021. He's practicing in tax litigations for more than 3 years, associated with advocate Vipul Joshi, Mumbai. Vipul Joshi, sir, from Mumbai, is president of Income Tax Appellate Tribunal Bar Association, Mumbai, and past president of Chamber of Tax Consultant. He has a vast experience in filing of appeals, representing clients before the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, preparation of written submission to the representing clients before the Commissioner of Income Tax Appeals, preparation, reply to the notices, drafting, and whatnot, drafting of agreements, partnership deeds, etc. Tax planning in capital gain as well. So the lot of experience. Also, at present, he is the vice chairman of our study circle committee of Aurangabad branch of ICI, WIRC of ICI. So without wasting much time, I would request Shubham sir to take the charge.
Thank you, sir. Very good evening to everyone. I hope everyone over here is in the good shape of their life and at good health. First of all, I would like to thank Yogesh Agrawal sir, the chairman of Aurangabad branch, the chairman of Akola branch, Nanded branch, and Pimpri-Chinchwad branch. I would like to thank them for giving me this opportunity to speak on such a hot topic, which everyone wants to know what has happened after the Supreme Court decision. So I would like to say that the topic of reassessment is evergreen topic, क्योंकि हम जब भी देखेंगे जैसे जीएसटी में हर रोज कुछ ना कुछ नया नया नोटिफिकेशन जाता है, वैसे ही इनकम टैक्स में स्पेसिफिकली रीअसेसमेंट में हर रोज कोई ना कोई नया डिसीजन आता है. अगर कोई केस का पर्टिकुलरली अगर थोड़ा भी फैक्ट चेंज कर दो तो उसका डिसीजन चेंज होता है. अगर हम देखोगे, अगर कोई 10 रीट पिटीशन अगर बॉम्बे हाईकोर्ट में अगर फाइल होती है, उसमें आउट ऑफ 10 5 से 6 रीट पिटीशंस मेयरली डिपेंडेंट ऑन द रीअसेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग्स. सो इसलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि ये काफी लिटिगेटिव और काफी हॉट टॉपिक है. बट जब फाइनेंस एक्ट 2021 आया, उसके बाद तो इसमें लिटिगेशंस काफी बढ़ गए. वो कैसे बढ़े, क्या हुआ एग्जैक्टली, और अभी उसका क्या पोजीशन है, हम ये सारी चीजें अभी देखने वाले हैं. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई विल शेयर द स्क्रीन. I hope my screen is visible, sir. Thank you, sir. So today's topic is decoding the new reassessment regime in light of the decision of the Honorable Supreme Court. So I don't need to say कि Supreme Court का decision किस basis पे आया क्या. I will directly start with the topic. So आज का जो topic है, हम एक मूवी की तरह देखने वाले हैं. मूवी में इनिशियली कैसा होता है, जब मूवी स्टार्ट होती है तो जो मूवी के मेजर कैरेक्टर्स होते हैं उनका इंट्रोडक्शन होता है. हीरो, हीरोइन, देन और जो सपोर्टिंग रोल्स प्ले करते हैं सबको इंट्रोडक्शन पहले दिया जाता है. फिर विलन की एंट्री होती है. विलन का एंट्री होने के बाद एक ड्रामा क्रिएट होता है, फिर एक क्लाइमैक्स होता है. तो ये हम पूरा एक मूवी की तरह देखेंगे. आजकल 2 घंटे का मूवी ही आता है और हमारा आज का लेक्चर भी 2 घंटे का ही है. तो इसलिए आई होप एवरीवन विल लाइक दिस सेशन like you have liked the movie of Bahubali and KGF. So I'll start the topic. So the finality of assessment can be disturbed. We'll start with the basic. ये basic मैं इसलिए ले रहा हूँ, हम अनअमेंडेड प्रोविजन जो पुराना प्रोविजन था वो भी देखेंगे. मैं ये टॉपिक इसलिए ले रहा हूँ क्योंकि जब हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट के डिसीजन पे जाएंगे तब जो फाइंडिंग्स उन्होंने दी है, ये अगर हमारा बेस अगर किसी का क्लियर नहीं होगा, या फिर क्या हुआ था, या फिर पहले कैसा प्रोसीडिंग चलता था और अमेंडमेंट के बाद क्या प्रोसीडिंग्स आया, अगर ये हमको पता नहीं होगा तो हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट के डिसीजन को प्रॉपरली जस्टिस नहीं दे पाएंगे। इसलिए मैं एकदम बेसिक से स्टार्ट कर रहा हूँ। सो द फाइनलिटी ऑफ द असेसमेंट कैन बी डिस्टर्ब ओनली under these sections of the income tax, that is section 147, 153A, 153B, 154 or 263. We will see what this section says, but इसके पहले I would like to quote one decision of the Supreme Court, that is Parshuram Pottery Works Company Limited. In Parshuram Pottery Works Company Limited, the Supreme Court had specifically said कि there must be a finality some legal proceedings. ऐसा नहीं है कि आज कोई असेसिंग ऑफिसर आया, उसने असेसमेंट किया, कल कोई और असेसिंग ऑफिसर आएगा, उसका असेसी की केस को लेके व्यू चेंज हो जाए, वो आए और रीओपन कर दे. दिस शुड नॉट हैपन. देयर शुड बी सम कॉन्क्रीट एविडेंस, देयर शुड बी सम कॉन्क्रीट केस. उसके बेसिस पे ही हम असेसी का केस रीओपन कर सकते हैं. अदरवाइज देयर शुड नॉट बी अ रीओपनिंग ऑफ द केस. So basically 147 जो हमारा आज का टॉपिक है, that deals with the reassessment proceedings. 153A deals with the search cases. जब कोई सर्च होता है, सर्च एंड सर्वे होता है, उस केस में असेसी को 153A के अंडर नोटिस इशू किया जाता है. Then 153B deals with the non search cases where let's say for example मिस्टर रमेश के यहाँ पे सर्च हुआ, मिस्टर रमेश के यहाँ पे कुछ डॉक्यूमेंट्स ऐसे मिले जो मिस्टर सुरेश के थे. तो मिस्टर सुरेश का भी उनको लगता है कि कोई इनकम एस्केप हुआ है या फिर कहीं पे भी इनकम अंडर रिपोर्ट किया हुआ है. इन दैट केस द असेसिंग ऑफिसर ऑफ मिस्टर रमेश गिव्स द all details to the assessing officer of Mr. Suresh, and that details are shared with the assessing officer of Mr. Suresh, and the assessing officer of Mr. Suresh issues notice under section 153B to the non-such in the non-such cases. Again, moving to next provision 154. We all know 154 is for rectification. अगर कोई mistake apparent from record है, तो in that case 154 के basis पे भी कोई केस को उसमें असेसमेंट जो जिस केस में असेसमेंट है उसमें चेंजेस दे कैन डेफिनेटली डू. देन कमिंग टू नेक्स्ट प्रोविजन 263. सेक्शन 263 प्रोसीडिंग्स डील्स विद द रिवीजन प्रोसीडिंग्स. ये एक कमिश्नर के पास पावर दी गई है. कमिश्नर को अगर लगता है कि कोई असेसमेंट होने के बाद अगर असेसी के असेसमेंट करते वक्त कुछ मिस्टेक हुई है, देयर इज द ऑर्डर पास इज इरोनियस, इट इज नॉट इन द कंसेंसस विद द इनकम टैक्स प्रोविजन, उस केस में प्रिंसिपल कमिश्नर के पास एक स्पेशल पावर दी गई है. उसमें the assessment order passed can be set aside to the assessing officer for making a fresh assessment. So जैसे कि मैंने पहले बताया कि आज का हमारा टॉपिक रीअसेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग्स है, तो हम उस पे ही फोकस करेंगे, बाकी कोई भी टॉपिक हम आज डिस्कस नहीं करने वाले हैं. सो बेसिकली जैसे मैंने पहले ही बताया कि हमारा हमको बेसिक और अनअमेंडेड प्रोविजन क्या था वो भी जानना जरूरी है, इसलिए मैं स्टार्ट उसी से करूंगा कि अनअमेंडेड प्रोविजन बोलते हैं. एक अनअमेंडेड प्रोविजन एक इतना जजमेंट लॉ था. व्हाई आई एम सेइंग जजमेंट लॉ? बिकॉज इसमें काफी सारे ऐसे इश्यूज थे या काफी सारे ऐसे इश्यूज को डील किया है सुप्रीम कोर्ट और हाई कोर्ट ने, जिसमें उन्होंने कुछ प्रोसीजर लेट डाउन की थी. यही प्रोसीडर अब ये 1961 से जो पुराना रीअसेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग ये 1961 से चला आ रहा है. उसके पहले 1922 में भी था. 1989 में एक स्मॉल चेंजेस आए थे, बट टिल 2000 फाइनेंस एक्ट 2021 वही रीअसेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग चल रहा था. तो इतना पुराना रीअसेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग जिसमें काफी वेल सेटल्ड लॉ आ चुका था, उसमें काफी सारे प्रोसीजर्स डिफाइंड हो गए थे. ये प्रोसीजर्स ऐसे थे कि अगर असेसिंग ऑफिसर कहीं पे भी मिस करता है तो वी हैव द चांस टू चैलेंज बिफोर द ऑनरेबल हाई कोर्ट और सुप्रीम कोर्ट विद द व्यू ऑफ रिट पिटिशंस. ये एक ऐसी कंसेप्ट है, वी कैन से you hit, you miss, I hit. अगर असेसिंग ऑफिसर कहीं भी मिस करता है, we can hit the charge. तो हम पहले प्रोसीजर देखेंगे कि किस प्रोसीजर के बेसिस पे पहले अनअमेंडेड प्रोसीडिंग्स चलते थे. सबसे पहले जब भी इंफॉर्मेशन और कोई टेंजिबल मटेरियल एओ के पास आता था, तो उसको असेसिंग ऑफिसर को एप्लीकेशन ऑफ माइंड करना पड़ता था. इफ ही आफ्टर द एप्लीकेशन ऑफ माइंड मतलब कि असेसिंग ऑफिसर को देखना है कि कोई इंफॉर्मेशन या टेंजिबल मटेरियल उसको मिला है, दैट टेंजिबल मटेरियल शुड डेबिट की कोई अंडर असेसमेंट हुआ है या कोई एस्केपमेंट ऑफ इनकम है विच इज चार्जेबल टू टैक्स. अब इसमें भी अगर हम देखेंगे, मैंने कोट किया है सीआईडी वैसे अमिताभ बच्चन, ऐसे बहुत सारे केस होते हैं इसमें बोला है कि कोई भी आप इंफॉर्मेशन उठा के आ जाएगा, उसको आप इंफॉर्मेशन या टेंजिबल मटेरियल नहीं बोल सकते. देयर शुड बी अ फ्रेश टेंजिबल मटेरियल या फ्रेश इंफॉर्मेशन. लेट्स से फॉर एन एग्जांपल, मेरा असेसमेंट हुआ, असेसमेंट के टाइम पे कुछ असेसिंग ऑफिसर को मैंने डॉक्यूमेंट सबमिट किए थे. वही डॉक्यूमेंट्स आज असेसिंग ऑफिसर फिर से 2 साल बाद लेके बैठता है और देखता है कि नहीं जो पुराने असेसिंग ऑफिसर ने व्यू लिया था ये गलत है, ये व्यू मैंने चेंज करना चाहिए, और वो रीओपन कर देगा. नहीं, ऐसा अलाउड नहीं है. जो इसको रिव्यू हम बोल सकते हैं, इसको कोई फ्रेश टेंजिबल मटेरियल या फ्रेश इंफॉर्मेशन के बेसिस पे नहीं बोल सकते। इसीलिए कोई भी अगर हमें रीअसेसमेंट का नोटिस आता है तो पहले हमको देखना है कि ये क्या इंफॉर्मेशन जो मिला है या टेंजिबल मटेरियल जिसके बेसिस पे उन्होंने रीओपन किया है, क्या वो मटेरियल फ्रेश है, क्या वो एक्चुअल मटेरियल डिपिक्ट करता है कि देयर इज एस्केपमेंट ऑफ इनकम। सेकंड, एप्लीकेशन ऑफ माइंड। मैंने जैसे कि बताया कि कोई भी इंफॉर्मेशन मिलता है तो उनको एप्लीकेशन ऑफ माइंड करना जरूरी है और उसके बेसिस पे रीजन को बिलीव ये उनको डिराइव करना है। जो पुराना रीअसेसमेंट का प्रोसीडिंग था दैट कंप्लीटली डिपेंड ऑन द रीजन टू बिलीव। असेसिंग ऑफिसर के पास कोई इंफॉर्मेशन आता है या टेंजिबल मटेरियल तो उसपे से उनको रीजन टू बिलीव डिराइव करना पड़ता है कि ये रीजन है जिसके बेसिस पे असेसी का एस्केपमेंट ऑफ इनकम हुआ है। रीजन, इट इज अ रीजन टू बिलीव, इट इज नॉट अ रीजन टू सस्पेक्ट। कलकत्ता डिस्काउंट कंपनी लिमिटेड का जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट का लैंडमार्क डिसीजन है, जो काफी पुराना डिसीजन है, और उसमें सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने क्लियरली बोला था कि रीजन टू बिलीव शुड बी अ क्लियर रीजन टू मेजर मेयरली ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ कोई रूमर्स या सस्पिशन यू कैन नॉट क्रिएट अ रीजन टू बिलीव। देयर शुड बी सम कॉन्क्रीट एविडेंस फॉर द असेसिंग ऑफिसर टू क्रिएट अ रीजन टू बिलीव फ्रॉम दैट। अगला प्रोसीडिंग पहला तो गया असेसिंग ऑफिसर के पास इंफॉर्मेशन आ गया, इंफॉर्मेशन के बेसिस पे असेसिंग ऑफिसर ने एप्लीकेशन ऑफ माइंड भी कर लिया और रीजन टू बिलीव भी बना लिया। फिर अब रीजन टू बिलीव बना लिया तो ये माइंड में बना के नहीं चलेगा रीजन टू बिलीव। तो रीजन टू बिलीव असेसिंग ऑफिसर ने एक राइटिंग में लिखना चाहिए, मेजरली बस माइंड में लिख के वो नहीं चलेगा। ये एक काफी क्लियर डिसीजन और हिंदुस्तान लीवर लिमिटेड का है। हिंदुस्तान लीवर लिमिटेड एक इतना अच्छा और लैंडमार्क डिसीजन है जिसमें उन्होंने क्लियरली लिखा हुआ है कि रीजन टू बिलीव कैसा ड्राफ्ट करना है। रीजन टू बिलीव ये प्रॉपरली शुड स्पीक द माइंड ऑफ द असेसिंग ऑफिसर। असेसिंग ऑफिसर के जब रीजन टू बिलीव फॉर्म करते हैं उस टाइम जो भी माइंड में आ रहा है दैट शुड बी रिटन ऑन द पेपर व्हिच वी कॉल इट एज अ रीजन फॉर रिकॉर्डिंग। इट इज द रीजंस फॉर रीओपनिंग द केस। ये रीजंस इसलिए इंपॉर्टेंट है क्योंकि असेसिंग को ये रीजन उन्होंने देना चाहिए कि किस बेसिस पे उन्होंने 148 का नोटिस इशू किया है। तो वन शुड डेफिनेटली रीड द हिंदुस्तान लीवर लिमिटेड। ये काफी अच्छा और बहुत अच्छा ड्राफ्टेड ऑर्डर है हमारे ऑनरेबल बॉम्बे हाईकोर्ट के द्वारा। अभी हमारा इंफॉर्मेशन भी आ गया, एप्लीकेशन भी हो गया, रीजन टू बिलीव भी डिराइव हो गया, असेसिंग ऑफिसर ने रीजंस भी लिख लिए राइटिंग में। अब उसके बाद रीजंस तो लिख लिए बट असेसिंग ऑफिसर को डायरेक्टली 148 का नोटिस इशू करने का पावर नहीं है। तो सेक्शन 151 के दायरे में असेसिंग ऑफिसर को सैंक्शन लेना पड़ेगा फ्रॉम एन एप्रोप्रिएट अथॉरिटी। एप्रोप्रिएट अथॉरिटी वन सेक्शन 151 में डिराइव किया हुआ है। पुराने प्रोविजन के हिसाब से अगर 4 साल पहले पुराने प्रोविजन में 4 और 6 साल का प्रोसीडिंग टाइम लिमिटेशन था। अगर 4 साल के अंदर अगर आप कोई केस रीओपन कर रहे हो उस केस में आपको ज्वाइंट कमिश्नर का सैंक्शन लेना पड़ेगा, और 4 साल के बाद अगर आप 6 साल के अंदर करते हो तो आपको प्रिंसिपल कमिश्नर का परमिशन लेना जरूरी है। तो इस पे भी एक काफी अच्छा और बहुत सारे लिटिगेशन चलता है क्योंकि बहुत बार हो जाता है कि आरसीसी सैंक्शन लेना ही भूल जाता है। अगर आरसीसी सैंक्शन लेना भूल जाता है उस केस में तो वो क्लियरली प्रोसीडिंग्स इलीगल हो जाता है, इनवैलिड हो जाता है। और इस पे काफी सारे सुप्रीम कोर्ट और हाई कोर्ट का डिसीजन है कि सैंक्शन इज मस्ट। चलो सैंक्शन तो ले लिया बट कभी कभी क्या हो जाता है कि आरसीसी सैंक्शन लेते वक्त गलत अथॉरिटी का लेता है। लेट्स से फॉर एग्जांपल 4 साल के अंदर असेसिंग ऑफिसर को अगर 4 साल के अंदर का कोई केस खोलना है तो उनको ज्वाइंट कमिश्नर का परमिशन लेना पड़ता है। बट इन केस अगर वो कभी कभी गलती से असेसिंग ऑफिसर परमिशन लेते वक्त या सैंक्शन लेते वक्त ज्वाइंट कमिश्नर की जगह पे प्रिंसिपल कमिश्नर को ले लेता है। इनफैक्ट प्रिंसिपल कमिश्नर ज्वाइंट कमिश्नर के ऊपर आता है, बड़ी पोस्ट का है। स्टिल इस पे काफी सारे डिसीजन है कि इवन इफ यू आर ऑब्टेनिंग एन परमिशन फ्रॉम द हायर अथॉरिटी दैट विल नॉट डू। अगर सेक्शन क्लियरली बोलता है कि 4 साल के अंदर के केस को ज्वाइंट कमिश्नर का परमिशन है तो यू शुड ऑब्टेन इट फ्रॉम द ज्वाइंट कमिश्नर इटसेल्फ, यू कैन नॉट ऑब्टेन इवन फ्रॉम द हायर अथॉरिटी। तो चुगमल एंड राजपाल वर्सेस एसपी चलिया इज द वेरी लैंडमार्क डिसीजन ऑन द सेम पॉइंट। अगेन आई हैव एक्सप्लेन्ड द both the type of cases wherein you have to where you can challenge the sanction. Even अभी के जो न्यू प्रोसीडिंग्स है उसमें भी मैं बताऊंगा, उसमें काफी जगह you have to obtain sanction from the various authorities. So where you have to obtain ये जो sanctions के decision even today they are valid in the new regime. How and how can we can challenge it before the various courts, that I will come when the as and when we proceed with the लेक्चर हो। सो कमिंग अभी हमारा इंफॉर्मेशन आ गया, एप्लीकेशन हो गया, रीजन टू बिलीव भी ड्राफ्ट हो गया, रीजन टू बिलीव लिख भी लिया, सैंक्शन भी ले लिया हमने एप्रोप्रिएट अथॉरिटी। उसके बाद जो हमारा स्टेप आता है उसमें होता है कि 148 का नोटिस इशू करना है। 148 का नोटिस इशू कर दिया। अब इसमें भी काफी सारे कॉम्प्लिकेशन है, इट्स नॉट दैट इजी। 148 का नोटिस इशू करने के बाद वी शुड नो कि the notice should be issued to a proper person. काफी बार क्या हो जाता है, किसी इंसान की डेथ हो जाती है, डेथ होने के बाद उसी के नाम पे नोटिस इशू हो जाता है। तो इस पे काफी सारे डिसीजंस आ गए, इंक्लूडिंग दी बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट, जिसपे उन्होंने बोला है कि नॉन एग्जिस्टिंग एंटिटी या फिर डेड पर्सन पे नोटिस इशू नहीं किया जा सकता। बहुत बार क्या हो जाता है, किसी कंपनी का अमलगमेशन हो जाता है, मर्जर हो जाता है, जिस वजह से वो कंपनी कोई और कंपनी में कन्वर्ट हो जाती है। तो जो ओल्ड या ओरिजिनल कंपनी थी, उस पे यू कैन नॉट इशू नोटिस. You should issue notice on the new company or resultant company or the legal heir of the deceased person. तो ये भी हमको बहुत काम में आएगा डिसीजन, जब 148A का नोटिस किसी अगर डिसीज्ड पर्सन के नाम पे आता है तो. सो वन शुड नोट दिस थिंग आल्सो. नेक्स्ट, 148 का नोटिस भी इशू हो गया. अब आरसीसी का चांस आता है, 148 का नोटिस आ गया तो he has binding that he should file the return of income against the notice under section 148. अब हमने 148 का रिटर्न भी फाइल कर दिया. 148 का रिटर्न फाइल करने के बाद इट इज दी राइट और इट इज द ड्यूटी ऑफ द असेसी टू सीक द कॉपी ऑफ रीजंस रिकॉर्डेड. इट इज वेरी मैंडेटरी थिंग. Assessing officer may not give you the copy of reasons recorded unless the assessee himself asks for the same. So it is very important that we should ask for the reasons recorded. After the reasons is recorded, the AO shall serve. It is mandatory for him to serve the reasons recorded. अगर reasons recorded नहीं serve करेंगे तो there are huge number of decisions or n number of decisions which says कि अगर reasons recorded नहीं दी गई तो the reassessment proceeding shall get quashed. तो इसमें का एक डिसीजन जो मैंने लिया है, that is Ramaiya, V Ramaiya. The decision is recent, that is of 2019 by the Honorable Apex Court. So अब reasons का copy भी हमें मिल गया. The important and very important step, next step is to file the objections against the reasons recorded. ये since I am practicing in the litigation, since I am appearing before the CIT appeal, ITT, now I am also going to appeal before the High Court. So I am telling you, if the objections are not filed, that makes your case weak on the technical ground. See what happens, हमेशा RCC का case is not strong on the basis of merit. Many a times what happens is the RCC's case is very weak on the basis of merit, but and in n number of cases we have seen, even if the facts are very weak, if the case of the SEC is very weak on the merits, but that can be challenged technically before the High Court, Supreme Court, even in the appellate proceedings. And in many cases, the High Court, Supreme Court, or ITT are pleased to give the decision in favor of the SEC. So I'm again repeating, because I have seen in many cases, out of 10 cases which I receive, in 5 to 6 cases, there are no objections filed before the assessing officer. So I'm again reiterating, even in the new proceedings, after one for the show cause notice, you should file proper objections. So I'll come to that again. I will come explain you how to file how to draft the objection, when to file the objections again 148A. We'll proceed further with this. हमने objections भी file कर दिया. After filing the objections, it is mandatory for the assessing officer to dispose of our objections by the speaking order. What is speaking order? Assessing officer merely cannot write one letter कि the objections of the assessee hereby are disposed of, and I am not satisfied with the objection and here are disposed of. This type of order disposing of objections are not allowed under the Income Tax Act. There are n number of decisions, including Fermento Research and Hotels Limited of Bombay High Court, which says the order should be a speaking order. अगर dispose order pass ही नहीं करते हो, that is the strong case where you can challenge before the High Court. In fact, we have in the March month for the old proceedings, we have in fact challenged before the Aurangabad High Court. Various cases are filed by our firm for the on the various issues of the old proceedings. So it is very good case to file a writ petition before the High Court if the objections are not disposed of. Then coming to next point, order be disposed of. The assessing officer has passed the objections disposing of the order. What after that? Even after that, the assessing officer simply cannot issue notice under section 142(1) by proceeding with the assessment. No, he has to wait for 4 weeks after that also. Why he has to wait for the 4 weeks? The 4 weeks time is given. This is again the judge-made law. The Honorable Bombay High Court in the Bharat Jayantilal Patel has said that कि एक बार आपने objection dispose of कर दिए, then there should be a chance given to the assessee to file a writ petition before the High Court. He feels that the order or the proceedings which has started under the by issuing 148 is completely jurisdictionless. In that case, he should get a chance to file a writ petition. That's why the assessee should be given a 4 weeks time for filing a writ petition. If the 4 weeks time is not given, in that case also the Bombay High Court has said that in that case the assessment or reassessment proceedings shall get quashed. So even this can be made applicable to the new regime. How, that I will again explain when we go further with this webinar. So again, after the we have seen the procedure, we can see there are numerous issues raised before the courts. Even these issues have been appreciated by the recent decision of the Supreme Court in Ashish Agrawal. So the issues which are challenged before the Honorable High Court or Supreme Court in the unamended law was no valid reason to believe. As we have discussed, there should be a valid reason to believe. Then there should be a tangible or reliable material information in possession of the assessing officer leading to for. If there is no tangible, what is tangible? Tangible means there should be a concrete. You cannot just on the basis of newspaper or some rumors, you can just form the reason to believe from you. No, there should be a tangible or reliable information. फिर उसके बाद there should be inquiry being conducted. ऐसा ही नहीं कि there should not be a change of opinion. As I have stated कि अगर assessment के time पे किसी चीज पे अगर कोई assessing officer ने एक view बना लिया है, that view cannot be changed by simply issuing a notice under section 148. If at all the assessing officer finds that the order passed is erroneous, then at the most what he can do, he can go to the PCIT and ask him to issue a notice under section 263. Because the proceedings of 263 and 147 are completely different. You cannot mix both the proceedings and जो मन में आया वो हम initiate करेंगे. No, you cannot do that. So again, the next issue that is challenged is not following the procedure of laid down by the GK and Rashab. जो हमने अभी पहले प्रोसीजर देखा कि आरसीसी ने रिटर्न फाइल करना चाहिए, फिर रीजंस मांगना चाहिए, फिर ऑब्जेक्शंस फाइल करना चाहिए, ये सारा जो प्रोसीजर है, दिस इज नॉट लेड डाउन इन द इनकम टैक्स एक्ट. इट वाज आल्सो नॉट इन द मेंशनड प्रिस्क्राइब्ड इन द अमेंडेड लॉ. It was a judge made law. It is a law made by the Supreme Court in the GK and Rashab that is followed till today. So now after the issues we have seen, now we can move on to the new regime. Before moving to new regime, I just wanted to say that whatever facts that we have seen of an unamended law or the reasons or the issues we have seen, all these things can be helped or will be helping us while we will discuss the Supreme Court's decision. Now we will move directly to the new regime. So now in new regime, the entire reassessment proceedings has been renewed, or we can say that this is a revolutionary change. At the time of giving speech or at the time of presenting the finance bill 2022, the Honorable Finance Minister has clearly stated the 3 objectives before for this substituting the reassessment proceedings. Those 3 objects were the simplifying the tax administration. They wanted to simplify the tax administration. Then after that, the second object was to ease the compliance and allow the SEC to focus more on their business, to grow their business. And third one is to reduce litigation. I am repeating, to reduce the litigation. Now, whether the litigation has actually been reduced or it has not been reduced, we will address this, or we will evidence this, or we will see whether actually the litigation has been reduced or not. So now we'll start with the new regime. New regime clearly states that the income escaping assets, we'll start with the 147. 147 earlier was very big section. उसमें काफी सारे conditions थे कि अगर 4 साल के बाद होता है तो there should be mistake or there should be default by the SEC to present before the assessing officer, to disclose 2 or 2 facts before the assessing officer. Now everything has been removed and 147 has made clear, or it has been very crystal clear, और छोटा सा section बना दिया without any complications. इसमें उन्होंने clearly बोला है कि if any income chargeable to tax अगर SEC के पकड़ में आता है तो SEC has to follow 148 to 153 section, and following the 148 to 153 he can go ahead with the assessment proceeding. So 147 just gives the power to apply 148 to 153 if the assessing officer finds if any income is escaped assessment. Now in the earlier provision 147 there was a concept of reason to believe. The assessing officer had to form a reason to believe for making the assessment. Now there is no concept or reason to believe. What is new concept that we will see? Explanation to 147 में दिया, that was also in the old provision. Explanation clearly states that कि अगर हमने किसी बेसिस पे 148 इशू या रीअसेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग शुरू कर दिया है और असेसमेंट करते वक्त हमको कुछ कोई नया इशू पता चलता है जो हमने शो कॉज नोटिस देते वक्त कंसीडर नहीं किया था, इवन इन दैट केस हम वो नए इशू पे भी एडिशन कर सकते हैं. ये पहले भी प्रोविजन था, and even in the new 147 they have come up with the same explanation. So moving ahead, we have, I think 147 is clear to everyone. So with this we are moving ahead. Now coming to section 148A. So 148A is basically conducting inquiry, providing opportunity before issue of notice under section 148. 148A is newly inserted section. 148A clearly says that if 148, let's say for example, what 148 has done, GK and drive shaft, it is the advanced version of GK and drive shaft. In GK and drive shaft, the Supreme Court decision we have seen कि उसमें पहले प्रोसेस क्या था कि you have 148 जब इशू होता है, 148 होने के बाद you will have to seek the reasons, फिर you will have to file the objection, then objection refusing of order, and then proceed with the reassessment. वैसा नहीं. Now what they have done is they have applied the law of GK and drive shaft in the 148A in the advanced version. What will happen while introducing 148A, when the in the memorandum which they have given in with the finance bill 2021, they have clearly stated that department के पास अब काफी advance में all the information comes. The information which is received by the department in advance, पहले time limit कुछ 6 साल का था, but they have reduced it. Why? Because the departments receive the information very immediately. अब हम SFT का written file करते हैं. Through SFT, the assessing officer, income tax department has so much of information so that it becomes very easy to process the information and of income. So using the technology, they have reduced the time limit and they have inserted 148A saying that we will give you the information what we have in the advance. हम 148A का notice issue करेंगे. Now we will see there are 4 clauses in the 148A. We will see all the clauses one by one. So 148A clause A says conduct an inquiry on the basis of information received. So once the assessing officer receives information of escapement, he directly cannot issue a show cause notice. He has to first make an inquiry. First, he has to make sure that the information which he has received is correct information, is actual fact, and the assessee has done some kind of entry, and assessee has involved on this inquiry has to be done merely on the basis of information. Now I'm saying you by my old experience of the unamended law, in many of the cases the assessing officer will not do any inquiry and they will directly issue show cause notice on the basis of raw data, the raw information. This thing is to be seen, or these things to be challenged, or the objections in this regard has to be taken at the time of reply to the show cause notice. Then coming to the next point, issue of a show cause notice to the assessee. Now I have seen during this issuance of first time we have received 148 notices in many cases before this 31st March 2022. Now in many cases the assessing officer had very less time, so they have given the 3 days time, 2 days time, 5 days time for reply to the show cause notice. So assessing officer cannot give less than 7 days time to reply to the show cause notice. Once the assessing officer issues notice under section 148AB as a show cause notice, first thing he has to do is he has to give the entire information, entire material on which he has relied to the assessee for making his submission or for replying to the show cause notice. If he fails or if he gives you wrong information, wrong material, insufficient data, again this thing can be challenged. These things can be objected at the time of reply to a show cause notice. Again, in many cases, even I have written one article last month wherein I have given a pro forma of a notice where less than 7 days time was given. In fact, 5 days time was given in that case. So if you are having a less than 7 days time for a reply to a show cause notice, in that case, you should definitely challenge this. You can reply to, first you have to object by replying to a show cause notice. If at all the assessing officer don't pay attention to your objection, in that case, a writ petition in this regard may be filed before the jurisdictional high court. In fact, I'll also quote that decision. There is a recent decision, I think, of a Calcutta High Court or Delhi High Court, in which they have clearly stated that if the assessing officer has given less than 7 days time, in that case, the show cause notice or will be bad in law. So again, coming to clause C of 148A, it says if the assessee has filed the reply, the assessing officer has mandatorily to consider the reply of the assessee. He cannot ignore, because it is legally binding on him to consider the reply of the assessee. Again, after considering the reply, the assessing officer has to pass an order. So now he has to pass an order, speaking order. Again, as I have quoted a decision in the unamended provision, wherein I have stated that if a non-speaking, the decision was of a Bombay High Court in Formento Hotels, wherein they have stated that the speaking order should be passed. Even in this case also, the assessing officer has to mandatorily pass a speaking order. If the assessing officer just merely dispose of the objections raised by the assessee, this will not, even for this, we have received some decision on 148. Even those decisions we will study, we will see when we will go forward. So the time limit given in the act to pass such an order under section 148D is the 1 month from the end of the month in which the reply is filed. Let's say, for an example, if I have filed a reply on today is the 18th May. So from month end, that is month end of the May, that is 31st May. From 31st May, the assessing officer will have 1 month time to pass an order. Again, if the time limit is not fulfilled by the assessing officer, even in that case, you can challenge this thing also. So now, I have taken an example to understand what a raw data or a raw information can be under section 148A, where the assessing officer is mandatorily required to make the examination or make an inquiry under section 148A clause A. So the example reads as per the information received from a credible source. Please note, information received from credible source. So what is the information? We will see what is the information. We will go forward. Information from a credible source. Messr XYZ is engaged in providing bogus entries to sell or purchase invoices, and the assessee is one of the beneficiaries of such entry providers. The assessee has availed the entries to the tune of 10 lakh from the entry provider, Messrs XYZ, during the relevant year. This office is contemplating the issuance of notice under section 148 of the Act. In your case, you are required to submit the explanation along with the appropriate documents. So this is not my made case law. This is not my made example. This is the actual notice which one of my assessee has received. So if you examine this information which he has given as a show cause notice, so you will find that they have written Messrs XYZ is engaged in providing bogus entries to sell/purchase. So the assessing officer himself is not sure whether the assessee has obtained entries of bogus sale or bogus purchases. And if he's of the opinion that the assessee has obtained both sale and purchases, then he should have write sale and purchases. Sale or sale/purchase itself says that the assessing officer is saying there might be entry of sale or there might be entry of purchase. So these things he should have examined by issuing a notice under section 142(1) maybe. So these things have not been examined. Merely he has received from information from credible source, and he has issued on the basis of that information that the assessee has received a bogus entry. So these type of information are pure raw information, and these informations cannot be entertained, or these information are really not legal as per the provision of 148A clause A. So coming to my next section after 147, 148A, the very important section is 148. So section 148 talks about issue of notice where income has escaped assessment. So no notice under this section shall be issued unless there is information with the AO. So 148 clearly says कि अगर assessing officer के पास कोई information नहीं है, we suggest that the income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment in the case of assessee for the relevant year. In that case, 148 notice cannot be issued. अब information suggesting the income chargeable to tax has escaped assessment, what is this? What is the meaning of this? This has also been explained in the section 148 itself, 148 में उन्होंने डिफाइन किया कि इंफॉर्मेशन द AOB सच इज दैट इनकम चार्जेबल टू टैक्स असेसमेंट मींस it is not the inclusive definition, it is an exclusive definition wherein you cannot make an inclusive definition is where the definition can be exaggerated, it can be increased by adding more things, but where the word comes in the definition, that is means in case that the definition is exclusive and no things or nothing additional can be added in these except those three things, two things. Now, there are some amendments made in the Finance Act 2022, but I am not going into those amendments because I may point out what the amendment has made, but I have not taken it into my consideration for this presentation because this topic is purely focused for the Supreme Court's decision and its implication. So to focus on the Supreme Court decision, and at that time there was no Finance Act 2022. So purely the Finance Act 2021 will be applicable. So I am taking the this provision as per Finance Act 2021. So as per Finance Act 2021, the information are of two types. One is the information flagged in the case of the SEC for the relevant AWR in accordance with the risk management strategy formulated by board. So here, if the information is flagged, now flagged word is removed by the Finance Act 2022, but it was there in 2021, so I have taken it into the consideration. So the word flagged in the case of the SEC for relevant AWR in the accordance with the risk management strategy formulated by the board. So the board has formulated some risk management strategy. If as per that strategy, if the assessing officer receives some information, that information can be taken into consideration by the AO, and as per that he may proceed with the reassessment proceedings. Second type of information is any final objections raised by the CAG. So the audits are happening, or the audits are taking place in the income tax department to evaluate whether the orders, the assessment orders passed are at par or is as per the provision or as per the provision which is laid down by the law. So to examine this, there are n number of audits taken place in the income tax department. So it is interesting to state here that कि पहले जब प्रोसीडिंग चलता था असेसमेंट का, रीअसेसमेंट का, in that there are n number of decisions जिसमें बोला गया है कि the reassessment proceedings merely on the basis of audit objections are not allowed, are illegal. Now these things has been incorporated itself in the act itself. Now the provision is amended, and in amendment they are saying कि अगर कोई CAG का objection आता है, in that case the assessing officer can take it into examination or for recording the reasons to believe. So again I am saying in Finance Act 2022, in my opinion, the word final has been removed. So now they are saying any objections raised by CAG, it can be taken in consideration by the assessing officer. So now again coming to we have seen the 148 now. The question that may arise is what is the risk management strategy? What will come under the risk management strategy? So the risk management strategy is information from other government agency, law enforcement agency. So if the other government agency or law enforcement agency, let's say for example GST का किसी पे सर्वे होता है, सर्च होता है, on the basis of GST search कुछ पता चलता है कि the assessee who has reported the turnover of 1 crore, in actual he has the turnover of 10 crores. And if that information is received from the GST department, in that case the assessee may take it into the consideration. Similarly, अगर कोई internal audit होता है department, in that case some point comes into the consideration, that may also be the part. Information received from any income tax authority, information arising out of search and survey, information out of foreign tax, that also can be taken. Information arising out of any order of court, appellate order or NCLT. अगर किसी कोर्ट का ऑर्डर आता है उस बेसिस पे for this you can see the section 150 which states that where the tribunal or any appellate authority directs the assessing officer to open any old case, in that case the provision, the time limit which is given under section 149 will not be applicable. Any case can be reopened at the direction of the appellate authorities. So if any direction is issued, in that case also the reassessment proceeding can be gone ahead. So the last point is अगर कोई केस में रिकरिंग इशू आता है और रिकरिंग इशू पे दैट एडिशन इज मेड, और एडिशन करने के बाद देयर इज नो डिसीजन ऑफ एनी अपीलेट अथॉरिटी, और कोई अपीलेट अथॉरिटी का डिसीजन है बट विच इज अगेंस्ट द एसएससी, if even if the case is pending before the appellate authority, in that case that information can be taken into consideration by this assessing officer for reopening of the case. I hope 148 section is clear to you. Now very important section, time limit for notice. It is very important and it is the most I can say positive thing for an in the view of the SSC, because in the time limit given, they have reduced the time from 6 years to 3 years. In the earlier time, they had a restriction of time amount that if the 1 लाख के अगर ज्यादा ही है तो 6 साल तक केस खुल सकता है, अगर 1 लाख से कम है तो 4 साल तक ही केस खुलेगा. But 1 lakh amount is really in today's time is very meager amount. 1 lakh तो I don't think कि किसी के केस में भी 1 lakh के नीचे assessing officer will be interested to reopen. So 1 lakh was very small amount. Now they have increased that amount and even they have decreased time from 6 years to 3 years, that we'll see. So basically as per new 149, it says कि 148 issue करने के लिए they have given the time of 3 years. अगर 3 साल elapse हो जाते हैं from the end of the relevant assessment year, in that case the assessing officer cannot reopen the case. There is only the exception to reopen the case. The assessing officer may be allowed to reopen the case even after 3 years, but not after the 10 years. यहाँ उन्होंने टाइम लिमिट बढ़ा दी है. So in the earlier provision, the maximum time limit was allowed 6 years, and in case of foreign undisclosed income, in that case it was allowed 16 years. But now foreign undisclosed income, they are taking into consideration the Prevent of Money Laundering Act. So the maximum time limit of 6 years they have increased to from 6 to 10 years. But it is a positive thing for small taxpayers, because the 10 years time is only allowed where 3 conditions are fulfilled. So these 3 conditions are very important. The assessing first condition is the assessing officer should have some documents, box of account or evidence in his possession. I am again repeating, merely on the basis of information or he cannot come to a conclusion merely on the bank. Let's say for example, the assessing officer has a bank statement which shows that the assessee has deposited a cash of 1 crore, 2 crore, 3 crores. But merely on the bank statement, on the basis of bank statement, the assessing officer clearly cannot conclude, because from the bank statement, it cannot be concluded the assessee has, because there should be a document which reveals income has escaped. So basically, only having a turnover cannot be your income. Even if you have a 1 crore, 2 crore cash deposit, but it may a possible thing that you have very small amount of income, maybe 1 lakh, 2 lakh. Even the assessee has filed return of income of 4 lakh, 5 lakh. Doesn't matter. Even the assessee has not filed return because his income is less than 2 lakh or 2 lakh 50,000. Even in that case, the assessing officer cannot reopen. So there should be a books of account, other documents or evidence which reveals that there is a escapement of income in the form of an asset. Now, again, one more restriction is added, asset. So, बस assessee को कोई books of account और evidence मिल गया जिस basis पे वो बोल सकता है कि escapement हुआ है, but that will not be sufficient. There should be some asset. The escapement of income should be represented in the form of asset. For an example, the assessee has deposited cash. Let's say, for example, the assessee has purchased or sold some property. In that case, the assessee has generated some asset. Let's say, what is the asset in case of the assessee has sold the property? The asset is the cash deposited or cash received. That is the asset. But the things which are technically on the basis of technical veracity, the additions is made. Like, let's say, for an example, 50C. If the addition is to be made under section 50C, it cannot be made after 3 years, in my opinion. Reason being, let's say for an example, I have a immovable property or a land or building. Let's say for example, I have a land or building which I have sold for a 10 lakhs rupees and the not 10 lakhs. I will say, let's say I can consider 10 lakhs rupees. So let's say I have sold a property for 10 lakhs rupees, but the stamp duty value of that property is 1 crore. but I have sold it for 10 lakhs rupees. So clearly 50C will be applicable in my case. And the as 50C says ki you have to compute the capital gain by taking into consideration the stamp duty value or actual consideration which is higher. So in my case, actual consideration is lower and the stamp duty valuation is higher. So considering the 1 crore, I have, if I consider the sale consideration or as 1 crore, in that case, my capital gain may come 60 lakhs rupees. Let's say, for example, it comes to 60 lakhs rupees. So now, whether after 3 years the assessing officer can make it, because here clearly 60 lakhs is more than 50 lakhs. So therefore, whether the assessing officer can make an addition or can reopen my case. So in my opinion, as there is no asset generated by this transaction, and whatever the amount which I have received as an asset, I have actually shown it in my return of income. So there is no generation of asset through escapement of income or which reveals escapement of income. In that case, in my opinion, there cannot be reopening. Again, I am saying there is a amendment in Finance Act 2022 wherein they have, with the asset, they have included some expenditure or entries in the books of account. All 2-3 items they have again added. They have expanded the scope of through amendment in Finance Act 2022. Then, but again, I'm saying as Finance Act 2021 is applicable to our today's seminar. So, for the purpose of the notices issued under the unamended law, the asset, the term under clause 2 of clause 2 will be considered as only asset. There will not be any other things will be considered for these things. Again, the third condition is the amount should be in excess of 50 lakhs, should be 50 lakhs or more. So three things has to be considered in case of opening, reopening for more than 3 years. That is, there should be books of account, other documents or the evidence which shows that there is a escapement of income which represents in the form of asset, and such a amount is 50 lakhs or more. If any one of the conditions are not fulfilled by the assessing officer, in that case, reopening cannot be done beyond 3 years. Again, the proviso of 149, this is the highlighting point of our today's presentation. So there is a first proviso to section 149, which says that no notice shall be issued for AY 2021 or before if such notice could not have been issued at that time as per the provisions of full precision. So this clearly states that even if the new amendment provision says that the reopening can be done for 10 years, but since the as per the old provision, the SSC had the reopening only for 6 years. Now they have increased it to 10 years. So as per the proviso बोलता है कि अगर जिस दिन assessing officer notice issue कर रहा है for the assessment year 2021 or before, तो अगर 2021 के पहले उस साल का है उसके पहले का कोई भी assessment होगा, तो that should not be beyond 6 years. Let's say for an example, अभी today is 18th May 2022. So the assessing officer, if wants to issue a notice under section 148, even for the escapement of income for amounting more than 50 lakhs rupees, even in that case, he cannot go beyond 6 years. He has the restrictions of 6 years. So for today, if he has to reopen the case, even for the amount more than 50 lakhs, he can issue notice only for 16-17. He cannot go before 16-17 because the for the up to the 15-16, for the last date of 15-16, 6 years have been on 31st March 2022. So now for 16-17, 6 years will elapse on 2023. So still the assessing officer has time to issue notice for 16-17, 17-18. But before that, the assessing officer cannot issue notice under the new provision. This proviso has to be kept in mind because this will help us for the notices for to interpret the decision of the Supreme Court. Now, as we have seen that for reopening for within 10 years, there has to be the income should be represented in the form of asset. So, what is asset? We have to see what is the asset. So, asset should be immovable property, land or building, shares and securities, loans and advances, deposits in the bank account. If these are the form of asset, we should represent the escapement of income. So now after the 149 provision, everyone was like this kid, every small taxpayer was very happy कि भाई चलो हमारा 3 साल के बाद पहले तो टांगती तलवार थी 6 साल तक कब रीअसेसमेंट का नोटिस आ जाएगा, बट अभी जैसे कि असेसिंग ऑफिसर ने सॉरी जब फाइनेंस एक्ट 2020 बनाया, काफी सारे लोग खुश हो गए कि रीअसेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग्स का टाइम कम कर दिया है. दिस विल बी वेरी helpful to reduce the litigation, which was the actual motive of the honorable government or parliament, because there was it was their objection to reduce the litigation. So now actually whether the litigation has increased or reduced, that we can see further. अभी तक हमने सारे कैरेक्टर्स देख लिए. हमारा जैसा कि हम इस लेक्चर को एक मूवी की तरह ले रहे हैं, तो अभी तक हमने जो सपोर्टिंग रोल्स थे, हीरो थे, एक्ट्रेस थी, इन सब का इंट्रोडक्शन तो हमने ले लिया. अब ये हम एक बार एक समराइज वे में प्रोसीजर देख लेंगे रीअसेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग्स का, फिर हम चलेंगे विलन की एंट्री के पास, बिकॉज हर मूवी में विलन तो जरूरी है. जब तक विलन नहीं आएगा मूवी का तो कोई मतलब है नहीं. हीरो का हीरोगिरी कब दिखेगा? जब तभी दिखेगा जब मूवी में विलन रहेगा. So now we will, after this we will go to the entry of a villain. अब हमारे केस में क्या विलन है, that we will see going forward. So again, to summarize, what is the procedure as per new proceeding? Information मिलेगा. As per the information, the assessing officer should conduct inquiry, apply his man. After the applying his man, he should issue show cause notice, give minimum 7 days time. After giving, the assessee is required to file the reply. After receiving the reply, the assessee is required to file the assessing officer has to pass an order. After passing an order, the assessing officer has to serve a notice under section 148 along with the order. After that, the assessee has to file a return of income to 148. Now the entry of villain, or let's say for example, यहाँ से रियल ड्रामा शुरू होता है न्यू असेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग के लिए. एक न्यू एक्ट लाया था कोविड-19 के पीरियड के टाइम पे. कोविड-19 के पीरियड के टाइम पे जब लॉकडाउन हो गया तो इट वाज नॉट पॉसिबल फॉर एवरीवन टू मूव आउट फ्रॉम द होम. सो एक एक्ट लाया था जिसमें हर चीज का लिमिटेशन बढ़ाया था, रिटर्न का, रिटर्न ऑफ इनकम का, इशूइंग ऑफ नोटिस का, इवन पासिंग ऑफ ऑर्डर्स का, टीडीएस रिटर्न, 54 एफ का डिडक्शन क्लेम करने के लिए हर चीज का उन्होंने टाइम लिमिट बढ़ाया था. सो that power was given under section 3(1) to a respective authority of the respective act to issue a notification and extend the time limit as convenient to the taxpayer as well as the revenue. So this was the TOLA. It is in short form, it is called TOLA. So using the power of TOLA, the department had issued various extension. Let's say for example, 31st March 2020 was the first notification using the power of TOLA, wherein the 20 मार्च से 29 जून के बीच में जो भी चीज का लिमिटेशन खत्म हो रहा है उसका उन्होंने डेट एक्सटेंड करके 30 जून कर दिया था. लेट्स से फॉर एन एग्जांपल 31 मार्च 2020 को 13-14 असेसमेंट ईयर का 6 years लैप्स हो रहा था, बिकॉज 6 years फ्रॉम 13-14 इज 31st March 2020. सो उन्होंने 31st March 2020 का डेट from March, they have extended up to the 30th June 2020. Again, looking at the conditions, they have again increased. They have issued 24 June का notification, wherein they have increased it to the 31st March. So the 31st March 13-14 का जो limitation था, original limitation March 20 का, they have increased it up to the 31st March 21. यहाँ तक तो सब ठीक था, but 31st March 2021 को उन्होंने let me again make it clear. 31st March 2021 के पहले फाइनेंस एक्ट आ चुका था जिसमें न्यू रीअसेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग लाया था. जो एज पर दैट एक्ट 1 अप्रैल 2021 से न्यू प्रोविजन अप्लाई होना चाहिए था, बट 31 मार्च को अगेन द असेसिंग ऑफिस द सीबीडीटी हैड इशूड नोटिफिकेशन वेयरिन दे हैव स्टेटेड कि नहीं, हम 31st मार्च की जगह पे हम 30 अप्रैल कर देंगे एक्सटेंड. हम एक्सटेंड कर देंगे 30 अप्रैल तक का, जो पुराने एक्ट के हिसाब से हम नोटिस इशू कर सकते हैं 30 अप्रैल तक. अगेन 27 अप्रैल को उन्होंने डेट एक्सटेंड कर दी 30 जून को. सो एक्चुअली व्हाट वाज द नोटिफिकेशन और क्या चैलेंज का पार्ट रहा है, दैट वी विल सी. सो आई एम शेयरिंग नोटिफिकेशन बिफोर ऑल you all. This was the notification dated 31st March 2021, I will directly move on to the explanation which was challenged before the High Court. So there is explanation, this explanation wherein they have stated, for the removal of doubt, it is hereby clarified that for the purpose of issuance of notice under section 148 as per the time limit specified in section 149 or section 151, under this subclause, the provision of section 148, section 149, 151, the Act, as the case may be, as they stood as on the 31st day of 2021 before the commencement of Finance Act 2021. So it is clearly stating explanation कि 2021 के पहले जो अनअमेंडेड लॉ था वही एप्लीकेबल होगा. सो अगेन अब ये नोटिफिकेशन का वेरी इट इज अल्ट्रा वायरस और ये पावर स्पीडिटी के दैट यू विल सी वेल वी विल गो फॉरवर्ड. अब जब ये नोटिफिकेशन आया तब सब तरफ सब एसएससी परेशान हो गए कि यार पहले तो बताया था 3 साल का ही टाइम दिया है, बट अब नोटिफिकेशन के साथ वो एक्सटेंड कर दिया है और बोल रहे कि नहीं हम 6 साल तक रीओपन कर सकते हैं. और लेट मी से on the record that from 1st April 2021 to 30th June 90,000 notices were issued under section 148 under the unamended. ये मेरे दिए हुए फिगर्स नहीं है, this is the on record figure which is quoted by the Supreme Court in its order also. So ये एक छोटा, मुझे ऐसा लगा कि एक छोटा सा प्रैंक हो गया एसएससी के साथ, जिसमें फाइनेंस एक्ट 2021 के साथ उन्होंने एसएससी के होप्स बढ़ा दी कि 3 साल तक ही रीओपन हो सकता है. तो ये प्रैंक शायद एसएससी को बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं आया है, जिस वजह से उन्होंने हाईकोर्ट में जाके हाईकोर्ट का दरवाजा खटखटाया. सो हाईकोर्ट के सामने गए, हाईकोर्ट के सामने जाने के बाद रियल कंट्रोवर्सी यहाँ से स्टार्ट हुई. अब विलन का इंट्रोडक्शन भी हो गया. अब विलन का इंट्रोडक्शन शुरू होने के बाद अब मूवी का रियल ड्रामा स्टार्ट हो रहा है कि अब मूवी में एग्जैक्टली क्या हुआ है. क्या होता है कि मूवी में विलन जो हीरो होता है उसको परेशान करता है, बिना परेशान करे हीरो का हीरोगिरी तो दिखेगा नहीं. तो वैसे ही जो नोटिफिकेशन आया 31 मार्च और 27 अप्रैल को, वो एक हीरो एसएससी है उसको परेशान करने के लिए था. और यहाँ से रियल कंट्रोवर्सी शुरू हुई. सो क्या कंट्रोवर्सी, और हम जैसे कि हमने देखा इलाहाबाद हाईकोर्ट, राजस्थान हाईकोर्ट, दिल्ली हाईकोर्ट, कलकत्ता हाईकोर्ट, मद्रास हाईकोर्ट और इवन अपना जुरिस्डिक्शनल हाईकोर्ट जो बॉम्बे हाईकोर्ट है, इन सब में रिट पिटिशन फाइल हुए थे. इवन औरंगाबाद बेंच में भी फाइल हुआ था. और जब रिट पिटिशन फाइल हुए तो लगभग 7 से 8 हाईकोर्ट का डिसीजन आया जो सारे फेवर में थे. बस एक सबसे पहले जो डिसीजन आया था दैट वाज ऑफ छत्तीसगढ़ हाईकोर्ट, जो वो फेवर में नहीं था, इट वाज अगेंस्ट. इवन अगेन इन द छत्तीसगढ़ हाईकोर्ट, इन माय ओपिनियन, the SSC has not challenged the validity or constitutional validity of explanation which I have shown you. In that they have directly challenged the notice issued after 1st April. So it was not challenged before the Chhattisgarh High Court. So the Chhattisgarh High Court's citation is Palak Khaduja versus Union of India. It was, the order was had come on in the month of August 2021, I think. So what was this? It is very important to see the summary of judgment of High Court, because unless we see the summary of the High Court decision, unless we see the summary of the High Court decision, we cannot justify, cannot see the what had happened before the Supreme Court. So this is the small summary which I have prepared, saying what was the arguments taken by the SSC before the Honorable High Court. So first argument that had taken place before the High Court was कि Finance Act 2021 has substituted the earlier provision, that is one section 147 to 151 with the new provision. The same would result in repeal. So the first argument was, when the Finance Act 2000 itself has substituted the new provision with the old provision, then the old provision has repealed. अगर लेजिस्लेचर, लेट्स से फॉर एग्जांपल, लेजिस्लेचर ने अगर कोई लॉ बनाया है और उस लॉ के फाइनेंस एक्ट 2021 जो लॉ उन्होंने बनाया है उसके तहत कोई पुराना लॉ जो था उसको उन्होंने एज अ डेड घोषित कर दिया है, देन देयर इज नो पावर लेफ्ट विद द सीपीडीटी टू इशू अ नोटिफिकेशन एंड एक्सटेंड द डेट ऑफ एप्लीकेबिलिटी ऑफ सच अ प्रोविजन. लेट्स से फॉर एन एग्जांपल, लेजिस्लेचर एक गॉड है और एसएससी सीबीडीटी एक डॉक्टर है. अगर कोई पर्सन की डेथ हो जाती है, इट इज इन दी हैंड्स ऑफ द गॉड कि भाई किसकी डेथ कब लिखी है, बट डॉक्टर एक अगर कोई पर्सन उसकी डेथ हो जाती है तो इट इज नॉट इन द हैंड्स ऑफ डॉक्टर तो उसकी जान वापस वो फूक नहीं सकता, उसकी जान वो उसे वापस नहीं दे सकता. इट इज ओनली इन द हैंड्स ऑफ डॉक्टर, sorry, in the hands of God. Likewise, in our case, CBDT is a doctor and legislature is a God. अगर God और legislature ने अगर लिख दिया है कि ये प्रोविजन जो है वो डेड हो चुकी है और 1 अप्रैल के बाद ये एग्जिस्टेंस में नहीं रहेगी, तो डॉक्टर जो हमारे केस में CBDT है वो नहीं बोल सकती कि नहीं 3 महीने के लिए हम इसको, क्योंकि कोरोना आ गया है तो हम 3 महीने के लिए इसको फिर से जिंदा कर दे. नो, if legislature ने लिखा है तो you cannot extend it. This was the first argument before the High Court. Again, second argument was learned counsel of the petitioner pointed out that as per clause A of the new 149, the time limit has been reduced. The time limit has been reduced from 6 years to 3 years. So assessing officer cannot issue years notice after the beyond 3 years in the as per the provision of old law. This is very unusual amendment or notification which was issued by the CBDT, which was challenged before the High Court, and it was also argued before the High Court. Again, the third thing was that the learned petitioner submitted that once the Parliament has exercised its power of legislation, then any action such as issuance of notice by issuance of such a notification, जो notification 31st March और 27 अप्रैल को लाया, that notification itself it's a ultra virus because ये पावर CBDT को नहीं दिया गया था. इवन एज पर द टोला द एक्ट व्हिच दे हैव ब्रॉट ड्यूरिंग कोविड-19, उसमें भी उन्होंने कोई पावर नहीं दी थी किसी नए लॉ की डेट को एक्सटेंड करने के लिए. सो द थर्ड एंड फोर्थ पॉइंट वाज रिगार्डिंग द अल्ट्रा वायरस ऑफ द एक्सप्लेनेशन. Again, the fifth point was the impunged explanation had attempted to revive and keep in existence two different schemes. इस वजह से जब असेसिंग ऑफ CBDT ने एक्सटेंड कर दी अपनी पावर्स, उस वजह से हुआ क्या कि 2 नए लॉ एग्जिस्ट कर रहे थे 1 अप्रैल से 30 जून के बीच में. बिकॉज सर्च और सर्वे के लिए जो 153A और 153B जो प्रोसीडिंग्स एप्लीकेबल है, बट द फाइनेंस एक्ट 2021 के बाद 153 और 153B का भी प्रोसीडिंग्स बंद कर चुके हैं और उन्होंने बोला है कि जो भी सर्वे सर्च की जो केसेस है वो 147 के तहत ही ओपन होंगी. सो अगर सर्च के केस में अगर हम 1 अप्रैल के बाद कोई सर्च होता है तो उस केस में अगर कोई हमको केस ओपन करनी है, असेसमेंट करनी है, तो असेसिंग ऑफिसर हैड नो ऑप्शन बट टू गो विथ 147. And so for search they will go for 147 of new law. For other than search they will go with the old provision of 147. This will not do because at a time though simultaneous provision which has two different aspects, do different provision cannot be taken into consideration. So this was again a very good argument before the High Court. So High Court revenue ने भी बहुत सारे points argue किए थे, but the most important thing which I am taking into consideration, and this has also been pointed out by the Supreme Court. I have not taken other arguments because before the Supreme Court, the CBDT or the department or the revenue has not taken any of the argument which he has taken before the assessing officer. Simply Supreme Court के सामने बोला हमारे साथ मिस्टेक हो गई, हमने न्यू प्रोविजन के हिसाब से नोटिस इशू करनी चाहिए थी. इट इज अ बोनाफाइड मिस्टेक एंड इससे शायद हमारे जो ऑनरेबल जस्टिस MR शाह है वो इम्प्रेस हो गए और उन्होंने जो डिसीजन पास किया दैट विल सी. सो द आर्गुमेंट ऑफ द रेवेन्यू वाज कि 147 ये एक प्रोसीजरल प्रोसीडिंग्स है और प्रोसीजरल प्रोसीडिंग्स एक सब्सटेंटिव प्रोसीडिंग्स. सब्सटेंटिव प्रोसीडिंग्स और प्रोसीजरल प्रोसीडिंग्स एक दो तरह के होते हैं. सब्सटेंटिव प्रोसीडिंग्स बोलता है कि अगर कोई सब्सटेंटिव प्रोसीडिंग्स गिव यू द राइट, let's say for example PFESIC का जो amendment आया था, in that was the amendment in the substantive proceedings, substantive law. और procedural proceedings is what कोई procedure में अगर change करते हैं, so that is a procedural proceedings, procedural law. So substantive proceedings cannot be made applicable retrospectively, but I can say the procedural proceedings or procedural amendment can be made applicable even retrospectively. So it is a well settled legal principle. There are a number of Supreme Court decision for this. So the argument of the revenue is that 147 ये एक procedural proceedings है, it should not be made applicable. It is a substantive proceedings or a substantive law given a revenue to reopen the proceedings up to 6 years. ये 6 साल का 3 साल नहीं कर सकते और retrospectively इसका applicability नहीं कर सकते, ऐसा एक रेवेन्यू का आर्गुमेंट था. उन्होंने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल वैलिडिटी चैलेंज की इसकी एप्लीकेबिलिटी की. सो दी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बोला कि आपने जो एक्सटेंशन दिया है वो अप्रैल टू जून का है, जून के बाद जुलाई से यू आर गोइंग विद द न्यू प्रोविजन. सो अप्रैल टू जून इट इज अ सब्सटेंटिव प्रोसीडिंग्स and after June you will be see it is a procedural proceedings. No, you cannot have a contradictory view. There should be a consistent view. अगर जुलाई से अगर आप न्यू प्रोसीडिंग्स एप्लीकेबल करना चाहते हैं इवन फॉर द पास्ट असेसमेंट ईयर्स, then why not from the 1st April 2021 itself? So this argument of the revenue was not accepted by the High Court, and even the High Court, while giving the decision, they have stated that by deciding the issue of validity of notice issued under Section 148 of the Income Tax Act, issued on or after 1st April 2021, held the explanation which we have seen of 31st March 2021 and 27th April 2021, which extended the period of issuance of notice beyond 31st March, are declared to be ultra virus. The High Court had declared the explanation as ultra virus to be TOLA, and are therefore the notice issued under Section 148 are hereby declared bad in law, null and void. But very important thing one has to keep in mind, at that time many high courts have given the liberty to revenue to take step as per the new law which they have permission. So what this line had effect, that this we will again see when we will discuss the Supreme Court decision. So I will directly now come to my presentation. So this was the controversy, this was the argument, and again the Supreme Court has quashed the 148 notice issued after 1st April 2021. So now we are coming to the judgment of Supreme Court, which we were to discuss today. So now the main part of the today's webinar was the decision of Honorable Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court court stated that approx 90,000 notices were issued after 1st April under the unamended law. Out of those, 9,000 writ petitions were filed before the different high courts in the country. So 9,000 cases writ petitions were filed. Out of those 9 writ petitions, many of them were disposed of. Many of the cases were disposed of, but some of them were pending before the High Court, which could not be executed due to the paucity of time. So these two things were pointed out by the Supreme Court in his decision. Then the third thing, the Supreme Court discussed the old provision as well as new provision at length. They have reproduced the old provision of 147, 148, 149, and in fact, new provision of 148A, 149. All these are reproduced even in the High Court decision. After discussing the old and new provision, they have also stated that the revenue issued a reassessment notice in the guise of the notification issued dated 31st March 2021. So as we have seen that the extension from 31st March to 30th June was with the guise of notification issued 31st March. So this fact was affirmed by the Supreme Court. Again, the next fact the next observation which the Supreme Court has made is substitution of Section 147 to 150. See, this is very important line. The Supreme Court itself had said that there is a substitution of Section 147 to 151, and this substitution is reformative and a radical change. So introduction of 148A can be said to be a game changer with an aim to achieve the ultimate object of simplifying the tax administration, ease compliance and reduce litigation. So even the Supreme Court has stated that the new provision or the revolutionary amendment in 147 is brought with the object to simplify the tax administration, ease compliance and reduce litigation. So again, coming to our next point, which says that the High Court have rightly held that the benefit of provision shall be made available even in respect of the proceeding related to past assessment years. of Section 148 notice issued on or after 1st April 2021. We are in complete agreement with this. See, this argument was taken by the revenue before the High Court that it should not be made applicable retrospectively. This was not accepted by the High Court. High Court said no, the provision of the reassessment proceeding is a procedural proceedings and it should be made applicable retrospectively. And the Supreme Court has clearly agreed, affirmed the decision of Supreme Court, so the High Court, and said that we are in complete agreement with the view taken by the various High Courts in holding suit. So next point, which the observation of the Supreme Court was, however, the High Court quashed the reassessment notice, therefore it resulted into no reassessment at all, even if it is permissible under Finance Act. So the High Court had quashed, they had not given chance to again show the notice. This was the observation of the Honorable Supreme Court. So they said कि अगर हम 148 quash कर देते हैं तो this will make revenue remediless and the object and purpose of reassessment proceeding cannot be frustrated. The line revenue cannot be remediless. This I will prove whether it is a correct line, whether it is really appreciable line. That this we will again go through one of the landmark decision of the Supreme Court. This we will go through one decision. So again, it is a true that due to bona fide mistake, and see, the Supreme Court himself has affirmed that there is a bona fide mistake by the revenue by issuing a notice and or by extending a time by issuing a notification. So in our view, the same ought to have been issued in new provision. Even the Supreme Court says that it is a mistake made by the revenue by issuing a notice under unamended law after 1st April. The notices ought to have been issued in new provision. Even the Supreme Court has affirmed this. So हम जो बोल रहे हैं कि हाई कोर्ट का डिसीजन असेसिंग सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने खारिज कर दिया या overrule कर दिया, so I will say it has not been overruled. The Supreme Court has tried to strike a balance of a decision. They have tried to make a balanced decision rather than quashing or overruling the High Court. In spite of overruling, they have affirmed the observation which has stated by the High Court in their decision. So these lines are very important for us as we go forward in our webinar. So again, the next verdict which the Supreme Court has given is it appears to be genuine non-application of amendments as the officer of the revenue may have been under a bona fide belief that the amendments may not have been enforced. So the Supreme Court said that the officer may have been under a bona fide belief. So the Supreme Court का ये मानना है कि असिस्टेंट ऑफिसर को पता ही नहीं होगा या उनको पता ही नहीं होगा जो अमेंडमेंट है वो कब से enforce हो गया. First of all, is it the right thing that the officer should not know the law who is making the assessment? For this, I'll take a moment. I'll refer one decision. I will take you to the decision directly to the decision of one of the very this is very important decision of a Supreme Court in case of this. I have already referred this Parshuram Pottery Works. In the Parshuram Pottery Works, the Supreme Court has simply stated that the officers which are in charge, they should know law properly. They cannot merely say that we have mistake and we don't know what is the when this law is applicable. These excuses are not allowed to be taken by the assessing officer. Even the assessing officer don't know law, and due to this mistake or due to this ignorance of law, if there is a loss to the revenue, that loss should be suffered by the revenue himself. That loss cannot be transferred to the assessee. So this decision of HR Khanna is clearly in contradiction with the. I am saying it with the due respect to the decision of Honorable Supreme Court in case of Ashish Agrawal, but the HR Khanna, who is very renowned or very good Chief Justice or Justice of Supreme Court in the Parshuram Pottery, he has stated that this is not allowed, that the officer simply says that I don't know the law or this. Even if he says like this, then In that case, this the loss due to this can be suffered only by the revenue and not the assessee. Therefore, we are of the Supreme Court further stated that therefore we are of the opinion that some leeway must be given. So here we can say that there is a concession given to the revenue that in the that we can evidence from the language of the Supreme Court. They says leeway must be shown in this regard. That means some concession should be given to the revenue. So through this decision, the Supreme Court has given a concession to the revenue, even when they have made a mistake. So they have made some law. In the law, they are saying, so the Supreme Court has passed some given instruction through which they have deemed that the 148 notice shall be deemed under notice under section 148A(b). So 148A clause B notice, we know what is the that notice. It is a show cause notice issued by the assessing officer upfront to the assessee under the new provision. So I will go one by one to the instruction issued by the Supreme Court. Notice issued under section 1 shall be deemed to have been issued under section 148B as show cause notice. Then the second is the respective AO shall within 30 days from the 4th May 2022 provide the information and material relied upon by the revenue. So we will receive the information and material relied on by the assessing officer while recording the reason to believe in the old law. These things we will receive. Today is the 18th May. We have in our office we have few cases, and I think till yesterday I have taken update from my office, and my team informed me that there is no show cause notice received till date. So 15 दिन अभी तक हो गए, but there is no show cause notice received till date. Let's say when we will receive the show cause notice. Again, show cause notice मिलने के बाद assessee के पास 2 week का time है. He has to reply to the show cause notice in 2 weeks. After the reply, the assessing officer shall pass order, and the order after the passing of order, he will start with the 148 proceedings. Very important thing which the Supreme Court has stated that all the defenses which may be available to the assessee under section 149 or the Finance Act 2021 shall be available to the assessee and as well as assessing officer. Why 149 has been quoted? Because 149 gives you the time limit of 3 years. So the assessing officer cannot go beyond the 3 years except in the specific cases where all these 3 conditions are fulfilled. So this finding verdict of the Supreme Court is very important. Again, going to the next verdict, the present order shall substitute or modify. See, the Supreme Court has not overruled. They are themselves saying that substitute or modify respective judgment of High Court, irrespective of whether they have been assailed before this court. The Supreme Court says whether the appeal for 148 has been filed or not before this Honorable Supreme Court. Even in that case, this decision will be applicable pan India. So the order will strike balance between rights of the revenue as well as assessee. So this order, I am saying, this is the landmark or unique decision passed by the Honorable Supreme Court, because this order is not as per the law or as per the legality. It is merely by seeing the practicality and by seeing the loss suffered by the public exchequer. They have tried to pass an order which is balanced between the revenue and also the assessee. So this order is passed by under the Article 142. So what is Article 142 of the Constitution of India? Article 142 says that it has given a superpower or a special power only to the Supreme Court, wherein they can give a complete justice by looking into the complete or practicality. So looking at the practicality and invoking the Article 142, the Supreme Court has passed the order. I think this we may see that in the further course. So the revenue may again and again request Supreme Court to invoke the or exercise the power under section Article 142 in many cases where the assessing officer makes mistakes. I am afraid that this order should not be taken as the precedent for future or further course of legal proceedings under the new provision. So coming to the after the order, जब ऑर्डर मिला सबने पढ़ा, उसमें कुछ इश्यूज अराइज हुए कि वेदर दी रिट पिटिशंस फाइल, अब ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ऑर्डर किसको किसको एप्लीकेबल होगा, अलग अलग सर्कमस्टेंसेस है। कुछ केसेस में रिट पिटिशन फाइल हो गया और ऑर्डर भी आ गया हाईकोर्ट का, जैसे इलाहाबाद हाईकोर्ट, और इलाहाबाद हाईकोर्ट के केस में इवन अपील इज फाइल बिफोर द सुप्रीम कोर्ट। बाकी कोई भी हाईकोर्ट के केस में अपील नहीं फाइल की है, ओनली इन केस ऑफ द इलाहाबाद हाईकोर्ट डिसीजन द अपील वाज फाइल। सो पहला कंडीशन इसकी रिट पिटिशन फाइल किया, हाईकोर्ट ने ऑर्डर भी पास कर दिया। सेकंड इज रिट पिटिशन फाइल किया बट वो पेंडिंग है हाईकोर्ट के पास, but it is admitted but pending for final hearing. Third is writ petition file hai but it is pending to be admitted by the High Court. The fourth condition is no writ petition filed, and majority of the cases are 81,000 cases are there where no writ petition has been filed. And the last condition is assessment order passed under the old law. मतलब 1/4/2021 के बाद नोटिस तो इशू कर दिया, बट जो असेसमेंट ऑर्डर पास किया वो ओल्ड लॉ में ही पास कर, ओल्ड लॉ के हिसाब से ही ऑर्डर पास कर दिया बिफोर द डिसीजन ऑफ सुप्रीम कोर्ट। सो फॉर फर्स्ट 4 conditions, that is writ petitions filed but order passed by court, writ petitions filed but pending in all these cases, or not no writ petition. In my opinion, on all these cases the supreme court का जो order है, जो ruling है, वो definitely will be applicable. But now the most litigative part is जहाँ assessment order ही pass हो गया है। Now जहाँ assessment order pass हो गया है वहाँ पे तो RCC might be in appeal before the might be in the appeal before the CIT appeal. अब इसमें दो व्यू पॉसिबल है, बिकॉज इन इनकम टैक्स एक्ट देयर इज नो प्रोविजन जहाँ पे कोई अगर असेसमेंट ऑर्डर पास हो गया तो उसको तुम कैश कर दो और फिर से अपने असेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग चालू करो। ये बस पावर कोई स्पेशल अथॉरिटीज के पास ही होता है इन रिट पिटिशन, बट सुप्रीम कोर्ट वाज लेट्स से क्वाइट और हैज नॉट कमेंटेड ऑन दिस टाइप ऑफ इश्यूज। सो अगेन असेसमेंट ऑर्डर जिस केस में पास हुआ है, दिस विल बी द न्यू type of litigation will arise, which will arise in the future. Let's say what happens and what the Supreme Court gives the decision. So now the most important thing which everyone wants to know is the fate of notices issued. So the notices from 1st April 2021 to 30th June, उस period में majority the notices are issued from 1314 to 1718. So whether the 1314 whether the new reassessment proceedings can be made applicable to all these years or some of the assessment years are time barred, this was the question which was arising. Even I have in the Economic Times I have read one article or news wherein even the officers were claiming or asking the CBD to give clarification regarding the judgment, applicability of a Supreme Court judgment. So now looking into the confusion, हमारे जो CBDT है उन्होंने एज यूजुअल एक बड़ा सारा बॉम्ब डाल दिया हमारे पास और उन्होंने एक इंस्ट्रक्शन इशू किया। मैं इस इंस्ट्रक्शन को एक बड़ा सारा बॉम्ब बोल रहा हूँ आरसीसी पे, उसका एक रीजन है, वो रीजन मैं आपको अभी 2 मिनट में पता चल जाएगा। नाउ आई एम डायरेक्टली गोइंग टू द पहले उन्होंने एक्सप्लेन किया कि व्हाट इज द डिसीजन ऑफ सुप्रीम कोर्ट। उन्होंने 148(9) का नया प्रोसीडिंग, नया सेक्शन भी रिप्रोड्यूस किया है और 6.1 के एक पैरा है, ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज अपील्ड द व्यूज ऑफ हाई कोर्ट्स that the benefit of new law shall be made available even in respect of proceeding relating to past assessment years. So उन्होंने यहाँ पे क्लियरली लिखा है कि ये नया लॉ के हिसाब से नोटिस इशू करना चाहिए। The important lies which they have taken a decision of the honorable Supreme Court read with the time extension provided by TOLA will now allow extended reassessment notice to travel back in time to their original date. इनका बोलना है कि जो हमने 31 मार्च 2020 का ओरिजिनल डेट था जिसको एक्सटेंड करके हमने 30 जून 2021 तक एक्सटेंड कर दिया था, विद द हेल्प ऑफ टोला रीड विद द सुप्रीम कोर्ट डिसीजन हम इसको ट्रैवल बैक इन टाइम को ले, ये जो 13-14 का केस है हमें इसको ट्रैवल बैक इन टाइम मतलब 31 मार्च 2020 तक जा सकते हैं और वहां जाके हम टाइम मशीन के थ्रू हम वहां जाएंगे 31 मार्च 20 को और उस पीरियड का नोटिस हम आज इशू करेंगे जो कि नए लॉ के हिसाब से होगा। अब दिस स्टेटमेंट ऑफ द CBDT is clearly in contradiction with the decision of the Supreme Court. So again, I am going to the further instructions which the CBDT has given. So based on the above, extended reassessment notice have to be dealt with as an under डिवाइड 13, 14, 14, 15, 15, 16 के लिए 148(9)(b) मतलब जो एक्सटेंडेड टाइम पीरियड है वो एप्लीकेबल होगा। 16, 17 और 17, 18 के लिए 149(a) मतलब कि 3 साल का टाइम पीरियड एप्लीकेबल होगा। उस हिसाब से हम नोटिस इशू करेंगे। उनका बोलना है कि 13, 14, 14, 15 के लिए जो नोटिस है वो अगर 50 लाख का अमाउंट एक्सीड करता है तो ही हम इशू करेंगे, अदरवाइज नहीं। थैंक गॉड उन्होंने एटलीस्ट इतना तो भी कंसिडर किया कि 15-50 लाख के ऊपर ही होगा तो ही हम 13, 14, 14, 15 के लिए नोटिस इशू करेंगे। सो आई एम डायरेक्टली कमिंग टू दी so in my opinion the CBDT's instructions which they have issued are clearly in contradiction of the decision of Supreme Court, and this will again really bring the litigation back. The impact of the objective of to reduce litigation will definitely will not be achieved by this type of instructions or interpretation of Supreme Court's decision. So my interpretation as per the Supreme Court's decision is that for the 13-14, definitely the extended time period will be applicable, but we have seen the proviso which state that assessing officer cannot go beyond the 6 years. So even if we treat the 1st April, the notice issued after the 1st April 2021 as a correct notice of 148. So 31st March 2020 was the time period where 6 years has been elapsed for the reopening of the 13-14. So now beyond 31st March 2020, there cannot be reopening of the case. So in my opinion, it is time barred as per the proviso. Same with the 14-15. 14-51 के लिए 6 साल has been lapsed on the 31st March 2021. So any notice issued after 1st April 2021 will be time barred. So in my opinion, 13, 14, 14, 15, whatever the amount of escapement of income, even if it may be 50 lakhs or 50 crores, there cannot be reopening in that case. Coming to 15-16, 15-16 is really a litigative provision, I mean a litigative issue, because in my opinion 148 का नोटिस आज भी हमें नहीं मिला है, और जो 149 का जो टाइम लिमिट है, it is for issuance of 148. So 148 if we receive today, if we think about it today, 15-16 का time limit for issuing 148 was 31st March 2022. 6 years have finished as on 31st March 2022. Today we are in the month of May. So the time of 6 years have been elapsed, but still one may take a view, or the courts may take a view that the time of the assessing officer has gone into the litigation. So they may give a leeway again for 15-16 and they may allow. But today, in my opinion, the 15-16 is a time bar. For 16-17 and 17-18, the 10 years time limit is applicable, but only in the exceptional circumstances where the amount of escapement is more than 50 lakhs and it represents in the form of asset. Only in that case, and the assessing officer has books of account in his possession, only in that case 16-17 and 17-18 notices can be issued. Otherwise, the notices of 16-17 and 17-18 cannot be issued, in my opinion. So coming to end part of the my webinar. So there are few decisions of recent decisions of few high courts, Gujarat High Court and the I think Calcutta High Court, wherein they have given very good finding. I'll just take you to the case law. It will take hardly 2 to 5 minutes. This case law must be noted because this will definitely help us now to reply to the show cause notice. In this case, 148A notice was issued to the assessee on the basis of search taken at the third party's place, and the assessee had taken objections, and the assessing officer, as usual, has passed a non-speaking order. To that effect, the Supreme Court has given. So the Honorable Gujarat has given the finding. This will definitely help us. So the finding of the Honorable Gujarat High Court is that it goes without saying that any information must be substantiated on the basis of the record available. If any information is not substantiated with anything on paper, then perhaps the assessing officer may not be justified in just randomly issuing any such notice. Therefore, tomorrow if the assessing officer is not able to substantiate the information on the basis of any record in writing in form of a bank statement itself, then we may make an appropriate observation as to how the assessing officer is expected to proceed in accordance with the law. So here again, I am saying that this is a very good finding given by the High Court. It says that information cannot be a raw information. I have also given the example of a bank statement merely on the basis of bank statement. Directly, it cannot be concluded that I have escaped income more than 50 lakhs. The assessing officer has to have some record of the information, evidence, books of account, on the basis of which he can proceed. Merely on the basis of raw data, he will definitely cannot proceed with the reassessment proceedings in the new regime. So the citation is that Mahananda Enterprises Limited versus ITO. This decision is to be saved by everyone, every professional practicing. This definitely will help us. Again, one more decision in case of Shrenik Sudhir Vimawala. Again, it is our Gujarat High Court, wherein what had happened is there was a bank statement wherein the RCC had filed a return of income with very small amount, and the assessing officer had got the information that RCC has 5-6 bank account in which the assessee has deposited 180 crores of cash, or the assessee has the 180 of crores of cash in his bank account, but the income offered by the assessee was very meager. So on the basis of the information, 148 AB notice was issued, and the assessee had, as usual, filed the objection, but the assessing officer in very few lines has disposed of his or passed the order disposing of objection, which was really not appreciated by the Gujarat High Court, and the High Court has clearly in his order stated that the plain reading of clause D of section 148A, this is the provision where the order has to be passed. To above would indicate that the assessing officer is to be obliged in law to decide on the basis of the materials available on record, including the reply of the assessee, whether or not it is a fit case to issue a notice under section 148 by passing an order with the prior approval of the specified authority within 1 month from the end of the month in which the reply is received by him. Thus, there is an obligation passed upon the assessing officer in accordance with the clause G of section 148A of the Act to consider the case not only on the basis of materials available on record, but also the reply of the assessee. If the reply of the assessee has not been considered, then passing of the order under clause G of section 148A would be said to be an empty formality. The new regime of section 148A should be strictly followed so as to make it meaningful. So therefore, the Gujarat High Court here clearly stated that the order should be a speaking order, and it should consider the objections, all the objections which has been raised by the assessee. Recently, on the 12th May, the Calcutta High Court has come up with the decision wherein it stated that if the assessing officer fails to give the minimum 7 days time to reply to the show cause notice under section 148B, in that case, the order passed under section 148D is bad in law. So, अगर हमको 7 दिन से कम time मिलता है, so this case law will definitely be helpful for us. So again, the Calcutta High Court ka decision, the citation is 7385 of 2022, order dated 12th May 2022. This order also be quoted before the assessing officer. Before concluding, I hope the movie आपको पसंद आई होगी, and I am saying it is very important to take the objections, write a proper objections before the assessing officer in against the show cause notice which we will receive before the 3rd of June. It is very important, and if at all we find that there is the case is jurisdictionless or the assessing officer has not followed any of the procedure, the assessee with his own opinion or the opinion of some expert may go ahead by filing the writ petition and getting the notice quashed, because we will see a huge number of litigation going forward in the new region, at least for the in the view of the decision of a Supreme Court. With this, I hope I am concluding my today's session, my webinar, my submission. I hope everyone is clear with the Supreme Court decision. And if at all anyone has any query regarding today's webinar, I think the stage is open to you.
Yes, anybody wish to ask any sort of question, they can unmute themselves and go ahead with the question. All right. I think everyone is fine with without going ahead with the questions. I would like to post our vote of thank you, Shubham sir, for taking us through the movie called as Section 148 and 148A. I hope participants have enjoyed this movie. Beside enjoying KGF and Pushpa and Bahubali as well. We came to know the hero, we came to know the villain of the movie, and we also came to know about the time travel. We thank Aurangabad branch. Thank you, Hundiwala sir, for enlightening us. Hundiwala sir has also asked a few questions, doubts. I hope they have been properly addressed. Sir asking us question is like आपको हम लोग क्या आंसर करेंगे सर, ऐसा हो जाएगा?
नहीं, ऐसी कोई बात नहीं. Shubham has very nicely taken this topic in a very simplistic way. I appreciate all his efforts, और जो भी doubts थे वो उसके narration में बहुत अच्छी तरह से clear हो गए. So thank you, Shubham.
Thank you so much, sir.
Great work. I would like to thank Aurangabad branch for Aurangabad branch along with Pimpri Chinchwad and Nanded branch for taking this seminar. I'd like to give a special thank to Shubham Rathi for taking out his precious time, and last but not the least, the participants, the viewers, who without whom the movie cannot be made successful. So thank you everyone, and I declare the session is over. Thank you.
Thank you.